Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by CardConduit.com, a much more user-friendly way to sell off your collection. We'll take a look at them after round 1. Today we are going to be playing with some Sharks and some Tezzerets, courtesy of Ryan. So let's start by looking at good old Tezzeret Agent of Bolas. Back in the day, which is probably like 12 or 13 years ago now, Tezzeret Agent of Bolas kind of spawned a new legacy deck, just kind of casually referred to as Blue-Black Tezzeret or Tezzerator. It used to be a great source of card advantage with its +1 ability that allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your library and put an artifact into your hand. Its -1 lets you make one of your regular old artifacts into a 5/5, and its -4 ability, which it can use after 1 turn, is target player loses X life and you gain X life, where X is twice the number of artifacts you control. And you used to play this in a pretty prison-oriented shell, with Tezzeret being one of the primary win conditions, and you would hide behind ensnaring bridges and things of that nature. But now that answers to ensnaring bridge are just more relevant, more main deckable, things like Otawara, Boseiju, Abrupt Decay, all those sorts of things that are just kind of casually around, that plan doesn't work as well as it used to. So we're going to try to be a little bit more aggro with Chrome Host Seedshark, a 2/4 flying for 3 mana. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. Okay, when you incubate, you make a token that's an artifact with X +1/+1 counters on it. And for 2 mana, it becomes a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature. So imagine the scenario where you play this, and then force of will your opponent's next card that they play on their turn. On your turn, you pay 2 mana, turn your incubate token into a 5/5, because force of will has a CMC of 5, and now you are attacking for 7. That's honestly pretty dope. And we have a lot of solid artifacts that you will recognize from other kind of core legacy decks, and a lot of the 8-cast shell is here as well. We do have some kind of cute cards in here in the form of Battle at the Bridge, which has Improvise. You can tap your artifacts to pay for 1 of the mana cost of this. And this is just another thing that's going to be really good with Chrome Host Seedshark. Oh, it's the end game. I have 10 mana. Do this for X is 9. Gain 9 life. Kill a creature. Make a 9/9 token. It sounds pretty cool. So, let's see how this kind of plays out in action. I do want to take 1 second to highlight a sideboard card that you might not know if you are only a legacy player. Extinction Event lets you choose odd or even and exile each creature with the mana value of the chosen quality. This is sometimes going to be a board wipe, or otherwise it's a thing that can permanently answer something that might keep coming back, like, I don't know, say an Uro that might otherwise be a bit of a pain in the butt for this deck. Yeah, let's see how this plays out. This is like 100% going to be a fun deck list to play, and we'll see if the power level is appropriate for Legacy, or if we just play a bunch of artifact lands and then someone collector oofs me and I'm sad. Anyway, if you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It is the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, I think I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little slow. Oh, cool. I hope my opponent uses turn 1 to play Chalice of the Void. That's just like a free roll for us. Hell yeah. So, oh yes. The answer of how to play the hand has been solved. We'll jam a Tezzeret. What's cool is I can play Urza Saga and a Tezzeret next turn, because Dimir Signet fixes us for both blue and black. I'm not 100% sure that I'll do that. It's an option. Ooh, that's a force of will. Okay, so I do kind of just want to play double Baleful Strix next turn after playing Tezzeret to protect Tezzeret. I do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Down to 3 mana, up to 4 mana. Yes, I can do that. Alright. Go ahead and drop a Tezzeret. Force of Will. Pitching Thoughtcast. I will go ahead and force back pitching one of these copies of Baleful Strix. Now I probably just make a 5/5 and the game becomes less about protecting Tezzeret over time and more about just being the artifact deck that beats down harder. Okay. Let's play a Saga. A little awkward here. I think it's fine. I can filter through this. Cast a Baleful Strix. I don't need to play that here. Go ahead and send this at my opponent. They'll go down to 12. So, 1 artifact, 2 artifacts, 3 artifacts, 4 artifacts. Probably just turn this into a... It's already death touching, but trample off Shadowspear is a thing that I could be concerned with. I think I just turn the Strix into a 5/5. Limit my opponent's options and have an evasive creature for if the ground gets locked up. Not 100% sure that's correct. See what happens with their Saga. I've got all sorts of different targets that I might have to worry about. Like Mox Opal might be turning on blue here, would kind of be my guess. Ooh, a Sigh. All of a sudden my Baleful Strix isn't looking quite as hot. So Shadowspear is going to get countered by Chalice of the Void, but it still gives my opponent a Thopter, meaning that they have a 6/6. We'll see if they are attacking. So I can keep Strix, or I can just get rid of their Construct token. I think I just Death Touch their Construct token. It's kind of a wasted thing for Tezzeret's ability, but that's not the end of the world. I think I'm just going to have... Ooh. I think I play this as a land drop and cast Baleful Strix off of these 2 mana sources, and then make a decision about whether or not I'm animating Dimir Signet from there. I'm going to have relatively large creatures. I think I just cash this in for another big body. Have 3 large creatures that can attack in, and have Otawara to back it up. Oh, yeah, you can see my Otawara. That's fine. I may end up just bouncing my opponent's Sigh, depending on what they do with their blocks. Yeah, see, if they lose both of these, they lose Metalcraft. Which is kind of a big deal. Alright, they go to 3. Do I have Shadowspear? Do I have Shadowspear? I can probably just trample over for lethal next turn with these constructs. I think I'm just going to make constructs. It was a good old artifact fight. I think I have Hercules in the sideboard, right? 2 Hercules in the sideboard. I think it's correct to just get rid of Sigh since Ancient Tomb is super restricted. It seems like Shadowspear plus trample outdoes anything that Sigh does, and I can just Otawara something mid-combat. Alright, there is an Emery. Not super threatening as of right now. The game should be over by the time that that card matters. Pithing Needle gets countered. And then end of turn. We'll make a Deuter. Innately a 5/5. And I'll go ahead and activate that again. Changing my thing into a 6/6. I'll pick up a Shadowspear. I'll equip, yeah. Okay, cool. Interesting game. I had a lot of lines available to me that were similar. So, I have options. Chalice on 0 can stop my opponent from playing out artifacts. Engineered Explosives can sweep up free artifacts, but it also will hit mine. I have a bunch of things that are okay. I think I always want these, and I have to kind of think about like my feelings on Chalice. Probably never the better Retrofitter Foundry deck. Not the biggest fan of Force of Negation. What about the battle? A lot of my opponent's creatures have a little bit of a big booty. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of that. So that gets me EE and Hercules. And then I have to think about like Chalice numbers. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be the Force of Will deck. I think my opponent's a little bit better at casting these cards than I am. I also have some things like Pithing Needle for Emery that I can think about. Plague Engineer for Thopters. Maybe on the draw, I don't do Chalice. And I do like Needle for Emery, double Plague Engineer, 1 Dismember. We take out 1 Force of Will for a second Dismember because answering an early Emery or Sai is pretty important. Again, as always, I'm usually playing these decks for the first time. Don't take sideboarding as gospel. This has some absolute bangers, but not enough mana. And I think I just have to mulligan hands that don't have enough mana. Pivot A. This is a strong 5-card hand. Probably start on like Urza Saga, Pithing Needle Emery, Ancient Tomb. Keep Hercules and Underground Sea for later. I think I like that. Goodbye, Plague Engineer and Strix. I don't think this is the strongest hand in the world by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just going to hope that it is good enough. All right. That is a lot of artifacts. So, I can Pithing Needle Urza Saga here, but seeing as I have double Urza Saga, that doesn't actually seem great for me. I think my plan is going to be Hercules recall my opponent after they do their stages of Urza Saga. I'm going to cast this Pithing Needle. If it just resolves, I'll name one of the onboard baubles. Okay. I will name the onboard Urza's Bauble. That's fine. If my opponent had an Emery in hand, they could have done it turn 1, so they at least don't have it for now. Get their card from Bauble in upkeep. And I see how crazy this turn is for them. If it's just pass, I'm not actually all that worried. Okay. Go ahead and play an Ancient Tomb and pass. This is all fine. And then, so that my Urza Saga doesn't get Pithing Needled, I will go ahead and activate this now. They can get a Shadow Spear, they can get a Spell Bomb, a Retrofitter Foundry. They've got a lot of options. Okay, they are going to go with the Spell Bomb. Might not be able to make my next Construct token. Might be better for me to just chump block here. Cast a Hercules recall on my turn. Get rid of their constructs. And then start accruing value with the second Spell Bomb. Do I have a Mox Opal in my deck, actually? That matters a lot here. I do have a Mox Opal. I can fetch Mox Opal and then Hercules, and that's fine. That lets me do both constructs. Okay, I'm just going to take the 6 then. A lot of damage. Okay. Oh, this is so much value. My opponent's going to play a Kappa Cannoneer, and then I'm just going to send everything back to their hand. All right. I've got a 10 from Saga. Get Mox Opal. This is turned on, so I can play Urza Saga. Start working towards that. Hercules recall everything back to my opponent's hand. Crash in for 4. I have a very strong board. I'm going to be attacking with 2 6/6 construct tokens next turn. My opponent can spellbomb one of those out of play, or otherwise like make a Kappa Cannoneer. We'll see kind of what they're doing. Or no, they are one short of Kappa Cannoneer actually. I guess similarly, I also have to worry about getting Hercules recalled. Thought Monitor is fine. Yep, all good. And remember, Urza's Bauble is Pithing Needled. Second Otawara. Okay, so they want to be able to junk my Spellbomb. Oh, Emery's good. Sure. They've milled a Hercules. Alright. Now they don't have mana to bounce a creature, which is kind of a big deal here. Let's go Underground Sea. Play Strix. Ooh. That's honestly just a little dirty. I'll send in with these. Opponent will block 1. I'll do this thing again. My opponent takes 6 damage, going to 10. Next turn, I've got lethal a couple of different ways. I can Hercule my opponent's stuff back to their hand. I can Shadow Spear Trample for lethal. Spellbomb makes that a bit tougher. I don't think you're supposed to do that at sorcery. Oh, no. Okay, so they want to recycle it. That's just what they've got for turn. That's fine. Are they just deterministically dead for doing this, though? With Shadow Spear being taken into account? Okay, so I'll have a 4/4, 5/5, 6/6, 7, 8 damage. No, not quite, but real close. Alright. Make a new thing. Don't have... I could Spellbomb their graveyard here. If 7 damage showing Shadow Spear equip is 8 damage. Nuking their graveyard and then Hurkyl's recalling them after their turn is almost certainly a win. They probably don't have a second Spellbomb. Yeah, this is fine. Make a land drop. Actually, shit, I shouldn't have done that in case I draw exactly Urza Saga off of Spellbomb. Hit my opponent for 7. I do think I do this now. Draw my card. Ooh, it is a Thoughtcast. I am fine with playing that rather than holding up Urkels. That's fine. Yep, this is good. That was an impressive showing for match 1. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by CardConduit.com. Selling cards can kind of suck. It's a hassle. But with Card Conduit, you just send them your unsorted cards. You don't have to price them out ahead of time or anything. They will go, sort your cards, look at a whole bunch of different buy lists, give you the best possible price for your card, and then send you some cash. And they take a small fee for doing this, but it usually ends up being about 19% better than just selling your cards to any one specific buy list. So if you're in the market to sell some cards, check them out. Okay. I think this hand's a keep. It's going to start out as an Urza Saga, just regular old game. And then we'll get more interesting in the mid to late game where I have an absolute ton of card advantage. I'm going to be really soft to a wasteland. If this initial Urza Saga gets wastelanded, I can't actually really cast my spells. I don't have blue-black for 2 of these, and my artifact count will be very low. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Ooh, we might just die. I don't have Force of Will in this hand. What's my graveyard hate look like? Alright. This one's gonna be a tough match, folks. This one's gonna be a tough match. I get unmasked. I do have a Spell Bomb. If my opponent doesn't actually have the ability to go off on turn 2, I'm okay, but that's a lot to ask for. My opponent, I think, kept a 7. A Signet. Alright, game is fully out of my control here. I did have the option to take 2, play Dimir Signet, play Baleful Strix, but, like, my opponent gets an Archon of Cruelty or whatever, and this body doesn't actually matter. All that matters is my opponent. Well, I guess if all that matters is my opponent not going off this exact turn, I can take the redraw to try to get a Force of Will. But in the world where they don't go off, this line pressures them so much more. Seems like they don't have it as of now. Other Grizzlebrand a yard. Okay, they do have their reanimate. So my opponent gets a whole bunch of cards. Do I have a blue spell bomb? No. Board. Alright, so Lotus Petal, Bloodstained Mire, Exhume, 1 Entomb, and a Grief. Oh, that's gross. Don't have a creature in the yard. I'll discard a Thought Monitor in case another Exhume comes later. At this point, I can dismiss this. With both these creatures in play, I'm comfortable conceding. Let's draw a card and see if my top card randomly would have been a Force of Will. Negative. Alright. Cage in, Spellbomb in, another Chalice in, Force of Negation in, Shadow Spear and Retrofitter Foundry I'm not going to search for with these things coming in. I need 2 more cuts here. Battle at the Bridge, probably not destroying my opponent's creatures. This is probably what I've got to work with. I'm way lighter on Graveyard Hate than I usually am playing a Chalice deck. Usually I have like a set of ley lines or something. No? This is turn 3 Tezzeret with a Force of Will backup for the first thing that my opponent does, but unexciting. I think I would rather mulligan this one. This is not capable. This just does not get to 2 mana to start doing anything. It's unfortunate. I'll go to 5. Honestly, this is very solid 4-5. So These are the 100% keeps, and then it's like, I'm always throwing back this island. And then it's, do I want to keep Force of Will so that drawing a blue card gives me something to do with it, or do I want to keep Thought Monitor to get back into this game? I think Thought Monitor is a little bit too hard to do. So I'm going to go with just playing out the Spell Bomb. We'll do Spell Bomb into Chalice on 1, and hopefully that buys me a decent amount of time. Both will still get swept up in a Serenity, and Serenity is a reason to consider keeping Island over Seat, but I think I'm going to need like the Metalcraft and Raw Artifact count this game. Oh, alright. I might not be able to play this as a land drop here. Yeah, I'll, I guess, nuke my opponent's graveyard now and draw a card with this. Very obviously not how I want to be using my resources, and I have to skip my land drop this turn due to the exact Serenity scenario that I was describing. So my opponent's Serenity technically destroys nothing, but did a surprising amount of damage. I'm going to Force of Will this. I'm not going to let them put a creature into the graveyard. Like, my goal is counter this, then play Chalice of the Void. I would love to draw Ancient Tomb. As this, plus this is a little awkward. Nope. Alright. I will cast a Chalice on 1. Chalice on 0 stops Lotus Petal. My opponent has 3 of those remaining in their deck. I think I save this to try to Chalice on 2 to stop a follow-up Serenity. We're definitely in uphill battle stage, though. But Faithless Looting and Entomb are the easiest ways for my opponents to get creatures into the graveyard, and I've shut those off. Just pass the turn back, it's fine. Just pass it back. Yeah, Grief. That technically gets a creature into the graveyard. See which one they take. Like, the Spell Bomb is countered by the Chalice as of right now. So it feels to me like you take Chalice, but I am wrong. Okay, sometimes you just, like, draw it up perfectly. So there's Chalice on 1 and Chalice on 2. My opponent will have very few castable spells remaining in their deck. Like, it's hard cast Grief. If they have a blue splash, it's cast Show and Tell. Yeah, that's not surprising here. I don't think I change anything for this game. Also, we're gonna try moving the card conduit thing over here. I don't like it covering up my graveyard. It looked fine when I was testing in the tournament practice room, and then I was like, oh, wait, my graveyard is gonna be pushed way down when I'm in an actual game. So sorry for taking that long to realize that. Yeah, this is a perfectly reasonable hand on the draw. Not the best versus discard, but like, you can't have it all, right? All right. Ooh. Well, that changes my play. I was planning on Ancient Tomb, Dimir Signet, but now it just becomes Underground Sea, Spell Bomb. And that is quite strong. My opponent presumably has Entomb here, which I just let resolve if I have a Spell Bomb in play. Oh, nice. No plays. Okay, we've got movement. That is blue mana, which suggests that Show and Tell can be a possibility. Entomb is fine. That's a Grizzle Dad. Okay, and they're not firing it off now. That is fine with me. We'll go Ancient Tomb, 2 mana for Dimir Signet, and then go ahead and just fire off a Baleful Strix as well. I want to increase my artifact count badly because I do have these Thought Monitors and Thoughtcasts. Now I have 3 artifacts in play. Thoughtcast is 2 mana, which is so much more reasonable. A Serenity. We're going to have to no-sir that. I just have to figure out which one I'm pitching. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 mana. I can just cast a Thought Monitor and get the body into play. That's fine. Opponent's paying costs on something in NSEP. Surgical Extraction on Force of Will? Sure. Seems like that's something that could have probably been done at my draw step. Surgical also seems super weird as a card for my opponent to have in their deck right now. I don't know, maybe they think I have Emery or something, which is reasonable. Seedshark. How much do you cost right now? You cost 4 right now. If I play Shark first, you cost 3. Oh wait, no, you aren't actually an artifact yourself. Right. Let's just cast this now. See what we draw. Vault of Whispers. Artifact count currently does not matter, so I am just going to play Underground Sea in case another Serenity occurs. Seedshark isn't the best right now. I'm currently viewing it as a blue card to pitch to a Force of Negation if I draw one, but it's pretty easy for that to turn into something that's actively good. A Thought Monitor. So this is non-creature. So I'm going to use a lot of mana this turn. I'm going to go ahead and just tap Ancient Tomb and cast Strix off of this now, rather than commit anything else. Play another Vault. Now costs 1 mana. Draw 2. New Strix. Strix is another look at Force of Negation. I think I'm into that. Draw my card. I will cast this now, as it will let me draw a card off Spellbomb if that's something that matters. And we'll do some small attacks. Usually it's pretty rare that a board looks like this versus Reanimator. Like, I have cast a large number of creatures, and it is turn 4. But my opponent's initial plan to answer my Spellbomb failed. And that is good enough for the concession. I don't know what my opponent's hand was, but I wonder if they should have just like tried to reanimate earlier, just eaten the Spellbomb, and then tried to get something into the graveyard again. But again, I don't know what their hand looks like to say whether that's right or wrong. Okay. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a keep. It doesn't leverage the fact that I'm on the play very well. Like, I can do a Force pitching a Force and like play out a Spellbomb. On turn 2, I will have 3 artifacts in play, meaning this costs 4, so I'm not quite there. I think I'm just supposed to mulligan this one. I think a lot of my hands with mana acceleration are just going to be better than this one. This is notably better than the first hand. I'll keep this pitching the Thought Monitor, and we'll try to play a very fair Urza Saga game. My opponent's going to 5. Alright, opponent kept on 5. This turn just kind of plays itself. Wonder if that was the long pause of someone who's playing Reanimator who just mulled to 5. Negative. More 8 cast. Sure. Don't have a very interactive hand here. Good, my opponent doesn't have a blisteringly fast start either. That is nice. You've got an Urza Saga plan in the short term. And pretty good card draw for later on. I think my opponent's sagas are going to be better than my sagas, though. Kind of a feeling that I have. I guess we get to find out. No Metalcraft over there yet, so something like a Psy can't come down. That's good news for me. Oh, shit. This is Painter combo. This is the mono blue hybrid 8 cast Painter deck. Bolas is thing. I think I have to do a thing that I'm not happy about here. Sad that I have to do this, but I think I have to Chalice on 2 here so they don't just randomly die. I think if I don't do this too much of the time, I could just lose the game literally next turn. Oh, brutal. Yeah, so I can now lose the game to 2 of my opponent's last 3 cards being Painter plus Ancient Tomb. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Come on. Come on. Alright, so now the only way I can win is my opponent punting and not activating Grindstone before my Urza Saga goes off. Alright. I am very happy with how I played that game. Like, I recognized the thing that I needed to do to stop my opponents out, and it just was not a thing that worked. Githing Needle for Grindstone is good. Spellbomb's reasonable. Hercules is reasonable. Force of Negation misses a decent amount of stuff. Dismember's fine. I don't think I want Chalices. I think about EE. EE is a little weird. I think I go these out. I like Dismember better than Battle at the Bridge. Want these things. I probably don't want Retrofitter Foundry. I probably still need the Spell Problem. I need to respect Emery. Force of Negation misses some stuff that I care about. I think I'm going to play these despite the fact that, like, they're kind of awkward and sometimes will blow up some of my stuff. Like, I can choose whether or not I play it and whether or not I crack it. The ability to just get rid of a grindstone that's sitting there or whatever is pretty strong. I think I'm happy with this. This hand does not have enough mana. I am not excited about this second hand. I am probably keeping it. I throw back the Shadow Spear, and then, like, this combo here is a touch awkward. I think I just play this out on Grindstone on turn 1. Like, I very much need my artifact count to be high so that I can play this Thought Monitor to recover from my mulligan. And then I can try to spend next turn casting Dimir Signet, the following turn casting Thought Monitor. Okay, so EE is going to happen on 0 to clear out Urza Saga tokens in all likelihood. Got it. For sure. Ooh, we got more. Is there an Opal? There's an Emery. Emery plus Spellbomb is annoying. Also, Lotus Petal is strong too. Force of Will is a little late. So it goes. This is kind of the strength of this like hybrid Painter 8-cast deck. It's just a little bit of a pain in the butt to play against. It has like multiple overlapping plans, but anytime you have to make an active choice with a card like Pithing Needle, it's tough, especially if you're on the play. For the record, I do not regret my line at all of just jamming Pithing Needle on turn 1. Bobble's fine. Not worried about the Bobble recursion as of right now. Worried about that. Alright, need like a land or a 0-cost artifact here. Ooh. So do I get Trixie? This currently costs 4 mana. If I play EE on 0, it costs 3. So I can cast EE on 0, cast Thought Monitor for 3, draw some cards, try to make another land drop, get further into my deck. My opponent can Pithing Needle my EE, and then I'll just Hurkyl's Recall their shit anyway. That sounds great to me. Alright, that took a little while to resolve. So this may end up getting Force of Willed. Okay, it did resolve. Good cards here. I need a little more mana, but I like what I'm looking at here. Probably get smacked one time by a Construct token, and then cast a Hurkyl's backed by Force of Will. So I can't prove it, but like my opponent has been pausing for long enough and that I just think they have it. That Pithing Needle. Okay, or Haywire might. Same overall effect. So I just let that happen. Sure. That's very good. I just let that happen. I have to just fight over their Force of Will. That is just unquestionably the most important thing that's going on the board right now. Okay, it's not on the board. If I let my Thought Monitor absorb 7, or do I keep it around as a threat? I think I let this just be a draw 2, gain 7 life spell and be perfectly happy with that. Alright, cool. Yep. All according to plan. Sure. They draw their card. They've got 7. Go ahead and start with a Dismember on the Emery. That occurred. I think I attempt Hurkyl's now so that my opponent doesn't have a high Metalcraft count to just keep churning through their deck. Here's Hurkyl's. Okay, here's this Force of Will that I sniffed out. I force back. I'm not sure which card I pitch. This is castable. This is a much better card. I think I keep the much better card. Pitch the Shark. Alright, so this is taking 10 power off the board and setting my opponent back a land drop. My opponent will get to, at some point, draw more cards with that Thought Monitor. But this buys me time to get back into the game. Alright, seat's back. Alright, there's a Painter. Not an immediate problem. I do have a Pithing Needle. If my opponent has another Emery or something, it can start to be a problem, because they can recur Haywire Might to get rid of my shit. Same awkward play as before. of play EE to reduce this thing's cost to 4 or to 3. Alright. I hate signets on Magic Online. They are just a little annoying in terms of clicking order. Alright, cool. I draw 2 cards. Those are fantastic cards. Tezzeret lets me put a lot of pressure on this game. Like I can Tezzeret turn an EE into a 5/5 and just start smacking my opponent. Or turn Thought Monitor into a 5/5 and just 3-turn clock my opponent. I do have to worry that my opponent has like their own Hercules recalls, which can be really strong. Alright. It's their turn to draw cards. Sure. Okay, that turn could have been so much worse for me. So, do I just play Seedshark this turn, then play Thoughtcast next turn to get a 5/5? I don't think so, because that requires more commitment of my mana, and mana is my current bottleneck. I think I just cast this for 1 mana and try to get another land to play the Shark. My opponent might have another Force of Will. They're awkwardly pausing again. Or the improvised counterspell. Improvised counterspell, sure. I cannot pay for that. I think I attack. I would be happy enough trading this for this turn because my opponent could just equip theirs with Shadow Spear and invalidate mine anyway. Alright, they're at 11. Don't love my position. I also don't feel like this game is over. Alright, that's very good. My opponent is up on both mana and cards. And I'd also say they're ahead on board. Like, I have strong cards in hand, but I don't have the resources for their strength to, like, shine through here. Gross. So they're back at 7 cards. Oh, no. That's recursive Haywire Might or recursive Thought Monitors. I probably just lose to that. Ooh, I Dismember too? Dismember as well. This is probably about the point where I can pack it up. Like, this is 3 damage this turn, 5 or 6 damage next turn, plus all my artifacts getting eaten by Haywire Might forever. I'll take a draw off Baleful Strix, but unless this is something absolutely game-changing, I think this is the end. Draw my card. Ox Opal is not game-changing. Oh, this is okay, actually. Is there any world where I can Tezzeret Ultimate and kill my opponent in one shot? Maybe I can play towards that. Alright, I'll play towards that. I don't think it's realistic. Alright, Emery goes after Might. I was expecting that. I guess my opponent does not currently have green mana showing? Oh, there we go. There's the green mana. Those cost my opponent a life. They are going for my Pithing Needle. That puts them back to 6. Grindstone plus Activate is lethal. They have the 4 mana to do it. He does not disrupt that. Yep, there's the Grindstone. And I don't have something like a Dismember to punish this. I am dead. GG's. Alright, I've gotten paired against a Yorion deck of some kind. This is a blue Yorion deck starting off on Urza Saga with a Forcible backup is probably fine. If this is something like Death and Taxes, I don't know that this hand is gonna really cut it. Alright, let's Urza Saga. Do it. Moment of truth. Fuck. Don't think my Urza Saga is going to outvalue what my opponent is doing as this game goes long. Alright. I will make my mighty 1/1 construct token. And go from there. This is not an artifact, which I need to keep reminding myself, because, like, let's be real, it is a giant metal shark. It feels like it should be an artifact. My Force of Will and my Tezzeret get a lot better with this thing in play. Yeah, I have to force that. I don't have black mana for Tezzeret, which probably means that I pitch that. Alright. Incubate! Oh, shit. Okay. We take that. We 100% take that. Now I've got to think about my life. I think this one is easier to start with what I'm taking out. Like, I don't want this. I don't want the 2 Force of Negations. I don't want Chalice of the Void. The rest of this stuff is pretty reasonable. So I will be thinking about probably these cards. I don't think Hercules is good enough. I guess this Spell Bomb is worth considering. So, I always want Dismembers. I always want Plague Engineers. Probably need Pithing Needle. And, like, probably play a couple of these. Maybe even sideboarding another card or two out. Retrofitter Foundry's not the best. I want to play this Sweeper. EE's nice at clearing out, like, Mother of Runes and Vials and other early things. It's very slow as a removal spell. Can I cut Force of Will? I reasonably do this. Play most or all of these. Just try to be a control deck that is looking to draw a whole bunch of cards as the game goes very long. Play a Force of Will or two, round things out. A weird looking control deck. Maybe wrong, I may need the Force of Wills. EE's slow, but like this game is going to be a slog. When I'm on the play, I think I'll play the Force of Wills and just try to leverage tempo. Unexciting but keepable hand is my read on this one. Is there a follow-up play? Plains Pass is fine. Okay. Gonna just try to get ahead on mana here. Second basic Plains. Chromox. Alright. That's spicy. You're gonna Skyclave my Signet. That's fine. Why don't I use EE on your mana? It's honestly not bad, right? Like, play Ancient Tomb, Dimir Signet, play Seat, tap for 2 mana, play EE for 0, nuke Chromox. Like, it's a 2-for-1 in my favor. I think I'm good with that. E on 0, and crack EE. Take out Chromox. Like, my opponent's deck is very mana hungry, so like taking that Chromox may be a major blow. It's hard to tell. Like, I can't see my opponent's hand, but like they've got Yorians, they've got Flickerwisp Chains, Recruiters, all that nonsense. I think it's a decent use of my turn. Sure. That's gonna Flicker Skyclave, giving me a 2/2, and it'll take out my other Signet. Annoying, but fine at the end of the day. I don't have black mana for this. I don't have black mana for this either, for that matter. Play this. Play Spell Bomb. Cast a Thoughtcast for 2 mana while I still control that Spell Bomb. Alright, there's Underground Sea to start doing cool stuff next turn. I can't do this now, it costs too much mana, and I think I'll just hold my Illusion back so it can keep a Skyclave from attacking. I need to kind of weather the storm here for a little while. If I can do that, I have some powerful tools at my disposal. But if my opponent just jams another creature with like 3 power here, I'm probably in trouble. Alright, that's just Yorian to hand. That's fine. Roll 3 artifacts. Thoughtcast costs 2 mana. Kind of interested in just dropping this for 4 mana. Just put another body in play, increase my artifact count for the future, and do a pretty small battle at the bridge to get me through the current turn cycle. I do this targeting the Flicker Wisp. Do this for 1, 2. I think I do tap this. 3. Or, well, technically 2. X is 2. That takes out the Wisp. Again, I'll hold the Illusion back, pad my life total. Lane Cycle, Timeless Dragon. So Yorian is coming next turn. Alright. Roll 4 artifacts. Thoughtcast is super cheap. I think I'm going to go here. Paying 2 for the Shark. Go 1 mana for a Thoughtcast, which lets me incubate. No timing restriction on that, so that is just going to be a 5/5. I need to hold up the Spell Bomb to flicker either this token or this creature. Feels like this is when I start trying to turn the corner towards aggression. Right, my opponent takes 4. We'll call that a turn. Alright, there's a land drop. And my opponent concedes. Yeah, they just kind of see like the onboard bounce this after you play Yorion or this, and then these creatures take over the game. GG's. What's that you say? You'd like to play against Yorion again? Okay, Phil. So, if my opponent is playing a blue deck, turn 1 Retrofitter Foundry into turn 1 Chalice is totally fine. If they're playing Death and Taxes, this hand is kind of poopy. Did an MTG Goldfish search. Their last finish is with Death and Taxes. I don't think this hand cuts it versus D&T. I'm going to go ahead and pull again twice. Yikes. Will I realistically go to 4? Yep. Urza Saga Ancient Tomb is just better than this pile of cards that has great risk associated with it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Life's bad, though. I'm pretty likely to concede game 1 quickly. Oh, that's so good for them. I am thinking about whether or not I want to play Underground Sea and concede this game in short order so that my opponent's sideboard's wrong for game 2, thinking I'm some sort of combo deck. Or if I want to try to actually win this game by playing Seat. But Seat, like, very clearly identifies what sort of deck I'm going to be on. I think I'm going to play the Seat and try to win this game. I need to play the Seat because if I draw, like, Vault of Whispers, for example, I need to be able to just do that next turn. Yep. Yeah, that's very good. Vile just gets to do vile things. It's funny because Vile has to. Never mind. I imagine I die in short order to something like a Caldra. I would be happy to be wrong, but just feels like my opponent has a Stoneforge Mystic. No proof, just feels like it. Spirit of the Labyrinth. That's a jerk. Woefully behind. I'm bad against Port, bad against Wasteland. Okay, apparently Chromox D&T must have done well the last weekend. Plane Cycle Timeless Dragon. Kind of a nice looking land. I'll eat my 3 damage. Flicker Wisps are so effing good right now. Brick's not looking too hot. Alright. How bad is it? What's the damage report? Bad. It really doesn't matter what my opponent gets here, honestly. Flicker Wisp is insane. Lauren is great. I think I'm comfortable throwing in the towel here. Like my opponent gets to like Lauren this land. I never draw cards off Baleful Strix. I think we can move on. Let's try to sideboard like I did last time. I think that meant playing a very large number of controlling elements and taking out most of my copies of Force of Will and Friends. I think I got those out. Chalice is out. Something like 3 Force of Wills out. Most of these cards in. That was 62. Spellbomb is one of those. Got Retrofitter Foundry for being mana intensive. Let's sort these all in here and see what doesn't look good. Retrofitter Foundry seems very mana intensive here in a matchup where my mana is going to be stressed. This is an unexciting hand. Is it worth mulliganing? I just get to start vomiting draw 2s pretty quickly. I guess I'll keep it. I'm not in love with the hand. So, turn plays itself. We'll see what my opponent's got. Another turn 1 Aether Vial start. Seems good. Alright. I would always like to play this. Thoughtcast currently costs 4 mana. Shadow Spear makes it cost 3 mana. And then we'll fire this off, refuel the hand, try to refuel the hand. I've got big constructs. Oh, that's so good against me. F. E. Oh. That was fucking bold. Wow. Yes. Now I get to just activate Urza Saga. If I'm willing to sorcery speed activate Urza Saga, I can also play a Dimir Signet this turn. I could also just play Tezzeret. I think I want to extract Urza Saga value first, though. Alright, so I have to do this like this. Do this first. Play a Signet. activate a Signet, activate Urza Saga. This is worse against a Flicker Wisp, but gets an extra mana source into play, which matters against Port quite a bit. Bomb's fine. My threats are largely colorless. Not entirely colorless, largely colorless, but it makes my battle at the bridge worse. Alright, do you have the Wisp? Alright, they do have the Wisp. That's fine. So next question is, do you attack with Mom? Is this gonna be Thalia? Sure. No attack with Mom. Thalia is a little annoying. We can kind of get around this, though. I guess let's activate this. Do this. Do this. I've got 4 mana after Urza Saga activation. Guess I'll just activate this now. I'm gonna use all my mana this turn. Alright, so do this thing. Grab a Pithing Needle, put it on Mother of Runes, make a land drop. How many artifacts do I actually control? I control 5. It's probably okay to just do this. For the 2 mana. Draw 2. Ooh, Extinction Event. I can do this on odd next turn to largely clear the board. That would mean battle at the bridging Thalia. Make that easier. And now I kind of wish I had Pithing Needled Vial. I couldn't have known I would have drawn that. So we'll tap these. I think I'll just take all the life that I can get. Maybe I'll leave this back to trade with a Flicker Wisp if my opponent attacks. That's fine. Gain 4 life. Alright, things are looking pretty good. But I don't really want to get complacent here, because my opponent has the ability to swing this game pretty hard. I will take the block. Would you like to dedicate resources towards saving a Flicker Wisp? The answer is no. And if the answer is no, I don't have to play Extinction Event. I can just like start playing Tezzeret and going ham with that. Thalia is totally fine. More Tezzeret. 5 mana for a Tezzeret. I use a lot of life and mana this turn. Do this. Convert this as well. I think take the 2 now. Cast a Tezzeret. Getting some mana floating. I think I'm just plussing rather than going aggro. I could turn the Shadow Spear into a creature. It's awkward turning the Pithing Needle into a creature. I guess I've kind of deduced that my opponent doesn't have swords, or at least doesn't have swords available. I guess if I have mostly entirely colorless threats, going aggro is fine. Do this. Whip to the Construct token. I don't think I battle for the bridge now. I think I kind of see what's up. Let my opponent make their attacks. Let them bounce Thalia, Violin, whatever they have. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, they're gonna take 5. And we'll call it a turn there. We'll kind of see how this turn cycle goes. I'm gonna lose Tezzeret. So I hate how Magic Online is now bugged and it does not accurately display in chat anymore what is being attacked. All right, Yori into hand. Got it. I can just play Tezzeret, equip a thing with Shadow Spear, gain a whole bunch of life, battle at the bridge, probably the Flicker Wisp out of here, and go from there. All right. Use both of these signets and 1 extra mana to play Tezzeret. Oh shit, I wanted to leave one of those signets untapped. Attack in for 10. Oh, I messed that up. Okay, I guess I'm plussing then for this turn. Baleful Strix is actually pretty interesting. Could be okay doing that. Blue and black for Strix. Draw a card, a Dismember. That's interesting. I'm not interested in it right now, though. Go ahead and crash in with this. Mostly to recoup my life total. Hopefully just kind of put my opponent in a situation where these 3 cards in some combinations finishes them off. File goes up to 5. Oh, that's super bad. Is it? Not actually super bad if my opponent goes for Yorion now, and I just get a 4-for-1 with Extinction Event. Okay, so they're just going to get Strix out of the way. Awkward for me if they just sit on Yorion, though. Alright, so Tezzeret is getting killed. Alright. Okay, great. This is what I wanted. So they'll blink their stuff out. I'll Extinction Event everything. I guess I don't get Thalia. Okay. Sorry, I'm not going to get something. Maybe multiple things. Okay. Sure and sure. Okay. So I'm going to use every bit of my available mana this turn, right? Have one of these, convert this into a different color. So I cast 5 mana, Extinction Event. My opponent probably bounces their Yorion to save it. And then I battle at the bridge the Thalia that's left in play and try to fairly beat Yorion. Okay. Extinction Event. Okay, Yorion gets saved. The Thalia is keeping me from 1/1/2 dismembering. That happens. All the odd creatures get destroyed. That gives me a 1/1. X is 1 here. Same amount as this. Alright, so that's fine. So that gets rid of the Thalia. And now I've got Yorion plus Caracas to deal with. I have a thing that does so. Yes, technically I can cast a Dismember at instant speed and kill myself. I will F6. Gemstone Caverns as well for additional mana acceleration. Batterskull. Rough. I'm not really beating that. Whip this token. Pass turn. Hope my opponent vials in Yorion to just try to go aggro. Oh, thank you. So now my opponent has given me an opportunity to kill their Yorion and just be fucking not having to deal with that forever. This is a winnable situation. It requires my next top deck to be very good. I will just take the chump block here. This just gains me some life. Okay. Does not gain me any life. I don't think you have to throw away that resource there, though. That feels wrong to me. That also feels wrong to me. I have all the mana in the world. Ancient Tomb doesn't matter. Colored mana sources that don't cost me life do. Yeah, I mean, this can kill a Germ token and buy me another turn worth of life. I basically need to top deck a draw to effect and string that into a couple of different cards. Stupid signets. Alright. Do that. Activate that, blow up the Germ token. Surgical on Urza Saga. I don't really know why you have boarded in Surgical Extraction. That does not seem good here. And if you're going to Surgical that, you should have done it in Draw Step. When I could have had a chance to draw the Urza Saga. Okay, same mistake as last turn. Yeah, I guess I will play this out and do the same thing as before, just slower. So my opponent did not bounce the Batterskull. That's annoying. Then Caldra. Fine. And make it lose the Germ lose indestructible. I need more than 0-cost artifacts to win this game here. Yeah, you can bounce that. Sure. Yep. So my opponent should not be putting in the Cauldra here. They should just, grind me out with a Batterskull, force me to use the EE, and then go for the Cauldra once this EE is off the board. But I don't think they are playing at the level where they are going to do that. They're going to see the kill and just try to go for it, and then get blown out by this. So things are no longer indestructible. Crack this. Worm's dead. Yeah, and now they don't have a real threat in play anymore. Signets will be the death of me. Alright. Play a Shark. Equip a Shark. My opponent's not porting me anymore. which is kind of a huge deal. Like, every individual point of life matters so much in the situation that we're in. Okay, new Stoneforge Mystic. Failed to find. No Lion Sash, no Jete. Okay, I need a big draw. Thank you, deck. I can't attack, right. That puts me to 8. Oh, my opponent technically attacks for 7. They attack all out. Or 6. They attack all out. I'm going to go for the attack. My opponent has too many blinky things, I think, for me to try to rely on the life gain. There is also just, like, the fear of me casting some instant and doing gross things here. But yeah, if I hold back and then my opponent, like, Swords Paths, Flicker Wisps, Skyclaves, anything of that nature, it's just quite bad for me. Alright, there's that land that will kill me. Yep. Yeah, so with that draw, I do die for the attack. But I just needed any zero cost spell there to make a decent sized incubation token. I think I stabilize and win. Alright, and that brings us to the end of the league here. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This was a lot of fun. Like, it's a little bit janky. Like, some of the mana is a little bit tough with the blue-black cards, like, because you have blue-black and you do have blue-blue on some cards as well. But, like, some of these cards, like Battle at the Bridge and Chrome Host Seedshark, definitely had a couple of moments where they looked quite good. I would say at, the casual level, at the FNM level or something, this is an absolutely sweet deck to play. Like, this one gets a thumbs up from me in terms of design, and I definitely would be willing to, like, mess around with Chrome Host Seedshark in a more real, like, tournament sense. Like, this is a card kind of like a Shark Typhoon that has the ability to really spiral a game hard. I like what's going on with this deck. I would say a major downside of this deck is that since it is artifact-centric as it is built currently, that means that you are hitting the hate of all the meltdowns, Hercules recalls, all that sort of stuff. But this was a blast to play and relatively competitive. I enjoyed this a lot. If you have any thoughts about the deck list or other things that we could try out in it, I would love to hear those down in the comments below, and consider leaving me a like on your way out. I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!